Hello there. We're going to be talking about bunch of stocks which are buzzing. Of course, we're going to be no prize for guessing there. We're going to be talking about Z Entertainment, Indiabulls Real Estate, and of course the rebound that we're seeing today in Adani Group stocks. But joining us today for the conversation would be Nimesh Rao, the Associate Executive Editor for CNBC TV 18. Nimesh, I'm going to start off by Z Entertainment.
Sure.
No price for guessing there. We've seen a good recovery coming in on that one, 6% up, most gain in 21 weeks. What's the mover for this counter?
Well, Z per se is like a roller coaster ride, right? Every day you'll see new news, every day you'll see maybe a 10% down or a 6% or a 10% up. So it's an evolving story which will keep developing. So we'll have to track on a daily basis. To start with, what's the news for Z Entertainment to buzz today? Number one, in a fresh filing on the exchanges last evening, the exchange said that the exclusion of Z Entertainment from the F&O segment stands withdrawn.
Right.
Okay. And the other announcement was that the post-May contracts will keep going on as far as the entertainment in the futures and options market is concerned.
Right.
And the second one is NSE had also levied 100% margin on the fresh contracts on Z Entertainment on 23rd of March. And that also stands now withdrawn. So this was largely done because NCLT had accepted the plea of IndusInd Bank versus Z Entertainment, and hence those actions were taken. Now both have seen withdrawn. In my career, I have never seen an F&O stock getting excluded and getting added back into the F&O in a span of 3 days. So it's a new learning for everybody and for us as well. So that's the news, that one, it's been added back to the F&O segment, and two, the 100% margin which was levied 3 days back, now even that stands withdrawn because the Z has gone into NCLT and has taken a stay against the insolvency plea.
Alright, that's clearly what the development is, where NCLT has granted stay on the NCLT order with respect to the insolvency proceedings. Of course, if you just give a little more broader perspective to this angle, Nimesh, I'd say 14 out of 23 analysts in the last 1 month itself have downgraded, or let's just say slashed their target price on Z in the last 1 month, and also it has snapped 6-day losing streak. These are just few nugget points out there for the stock movers. But what's next for this one? How is a shareholder supposed to now trade with counters as volatile as this one?
So it's a difficult call, right? And for traders especially, it's a very tough call to play on Z on news based on the events which are panning out on a daily basis. I mean, who would have imagined 3 days back stock getting out of the F&O? 100% margin, and in 3 days back it's back in the F&O with no 100% margin. So it's going to be volatile, and I think that's going to be the trend for the next few weeks and few months as well, till the time the merger doesn't go through. So that's something.
So what comes as a surprise, Nimesh? Does this come as a surprise that it's readmitted to F&O contracts in such a short span of time? Or the fact that NCLT has granted that stay, which was pretty much anticipated? What comes as a surprise per se?
No, so obviously, the NSE's move to add the stock back into F&O segment and removing the margin has come as a bit of a surprise, because nobody expected that this will get reversed in 3 days' time. So again, as I said, it's a evolving story. It's happening on a daily basis. There are things happening, things are changing. So obviously, it's going to take its own sweet time, and the merger is going to take a bit of a while for the whole process to go through. So those are few things to track on a regular basis, because that's going to have an impact on the stock price as well. I think what market ignored today is also the news that City Networks, which is again a part of the Z Group, the promoter family. Okay, the SL Group owns City Network, and City Network has today put out an advertisement last evening asking creditors to submit claims by March 6th to the resolution professional.
Right.
Now, if you remember, the whole IndusInd Bank plea of insolvency is regards to City Networks and the amount of 83 crores which is pending against them, right?
Right.
So we need to keep all these developments into account, read those statements very closely, need to understand what this means for for the entire group and for Z as well, and then you have to track the stock and the developments very, very closely.
I clearly remember when the first time this news broke, where we suggested that it's admitted for an insolvency proceeding, the first data point that we noticed was the amount, which was 83 crore, and we found that it's a very small amount that we're looking at. Second that we looked at was the comfort letter, which means that Z Entertainment in itself wasn't the one which was in the party which was at default. It was just providing that comfort letter, and the terms and conditions of that comfort letter weren't really largely known. So I think these were two of the parameters which we kind of preempted that this is going to be the move which is going to be likely. But the F&O segment and the short time span which has happened, I think that is the one which has moved in right you've likely explained. But I'm going to quickly address the second one, which is about Indiabulls real estate. The stock is down by more than 6%. Clearly change in management, but please take us through that.
Okay, so today the stock is on 6% on the announcement that there has been a change at the board level. Okay, my sense is the market has read this news slightly negatively. It's not at the margin, I believe it's not that negative, and I'll explain why. Now, what is the announcement? The announcement is very simple. The current MD, which is Mehul Johnson, he has resigned for personal reasons. He'll continue for the smooth transition. He'll continue for the next few months, and they've appointed Sachin Shah as the ED for the next 5 years.
Right.
Okay. Additionally, they've also announced that they're appointing 3 new independent directors, all of strong pedigree, for the next 3 years. Right. So these are the few changes that the Indiabulls Housing Group has announced. Now, the way to read this is this means that the shift is the power of control is now shifting from Indiabulls Real Estate Group to the Embassy Group. Now, if you just go back and refresh your memory, there has been a merger proposed between Embassy Group and the Indiabulls Real Estate Group, which has been going on for the last 1 year, and the NCLT proceedings keep happening every now and then.
Right.
Now, what this technically means is there will be more power at the hands of the Embassy Group now with the change of the management that they have announced last evening.
Right.
Also remember the next hearing for the proposed merger between Embassy and Indiabulls Real Estate is scheduled for tomorrow, which is 1st of March.
Right.
Now, whether this will be the last one, it's difficult to guess. But is it coming towards the very close fag end of the NCLT approach coming in and finally the merger going through? The answer is yes. So we'll have to track this development very closely on what happens in the NCLT tomorrow. But as far as the change of management is concerned, it's clearly a direction that there is going to be a further control of Embassy management as far as Indiabulls Real Estate is concerned.
Fair enough. Nimesh, I'd like to add a point here. If you look at the real estate stocks overall, they've not been doing too well.
True.
I'm sure there were a couple of brokerage reports also sometime back saying that the stocks are undervalued right now. The valuation is below the those long-term averages. But if you look at NSE Realty Index, it's doing well in trade today. Yeah. For the last 2 consecutive sessions, they've been doing well. And Indiabulls Real Estate, of course, like we rightly pointed out right at the start of the discussion, is down and out by more than 6%. But let's actually also address on what's cooking for Adani's. I think this is one bunch of counters where stocks may be. There is a lot of traction building up. We've seen a lot of market capitalization erosion which has happened through. And there is a flurry of activity which can be noticed ahead of a reject by index provider MSCI tomorrow. Now, do remember in the last 30 minutes of the trade, MSCI Global Index, there's a standard review which is going to take effect in the last 30 minutes. And the effect of it will come through in the next trading session. On account of that also, it's already, it's a known adjustment that, there'll be a lower, they've already reduced the weightage of Adani Enterprises. But net, we don't see any negative per se coming in for Adani, and also there has been some recovery happening on the account of drubbing that the counters have taken. You talk about the positive indicators, Nimesh, anything like Adani Ports, they've been raising funds now finally. Looks like at least some of the Sound Group companies have now started getting back in action. But what do you make out of any of these Adani Group stocks? I mean, any kind of interest per se, or do you still think, we can probably, the investors should be a little more cautious with that?
See, from a stock point of view, I'll tell you, this is what, it's like a relief rally, because all the stocks have corrected so much from the top, down 60%, 70%, 75% from the top. You normally see these kind of bounces happening in any stocks. It's not only on stocks, but normally we've seen in the past as well, if the stocks fall so much, you see a bit of a rebound, right? And that's happening in Indiabulls Group as well. The second part is, if you remember, there is a roadshow going on in Hong Kong with regards to the debt repayment and the bond for the bondholders. I guess any positive announcement from there will also have a bit of a relief rally for all the group stocks. Also, if you look at, I was looking at a very interesting report from Bernstein yesterday, wherein they had put out a schedule for the debt repayments of the Adani Group. And I don't know whether the market has read this or not, but the fact is that all the repayments for the Adani Group is coming up only in between April and September of March 2024. Okay, so nothing is coming for the next 12 to 18 months.
Nothing,
so it's all going to come only in 2024. So even that's a bit of a relief for a lot of anxious investors on what is going to happen next. Are they going to repay? The fact is the repayment is going to come for renewals only in 24. So there is enough time for them. And maybe, if there is some positive noise which the management makes in the Hong Kong roadshow,
that's true.
Probably that can also have a bit of a rub-off effect on all the Adani Group stocks today.
I guess probably that's the key point, right? The whole roadshow is conducted from a point of view of probably holding up for that investor confidence, and that seems to be...
And that largely for the bondholders, right? When that's where the big concern has been, whether bonds will get repriced, whether they'll be refinanced. So if they can give that comfort, and the fact that all the repayment is going to scheduled only in 24, I guess market will take a bit of a relief that there is no near-term pressure in terms of repayment as far as Adani Group is concerned.
Near-term pressure when you talk about the debt repayment, but we don't know if the pressure will per se continue. Seems like a good relief day coming in for Adani Group of stocks for today. But with this, it's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining in.